But Knoxville seems to be a lot kinder, just a lot kinder city to be in.
I think that there's a lot of misconceptions, and with some good reason. I've worked here almost 7 years, but before I worked here, you could have heard me say a time or two that they were lazy and just needed to get jobs, and what's their problem? There is a very high percentage of folks struggling with mental health issues and addiction issues. Some folks really just can't find a job. They're trying. I have clients now who I know are putting out applications every day, and it's just there is no job for them.
There are a lot of homeless in Knoxville. A lot of homeless folks actually will reference Knoxville because of the resources for the homeless, the city with the gold ball. But even despite all of the resources that we have for the homeless, there are not nearly enough resources to meet just the incessant demand from the homeless community.
Most people are afraid of the homeless. They really are. You find some people that are good Christians, are kind, that they want to help, and then you find some people who have a real bad temper, and then you find there's a mixture. But everybody's kind of lumped into one big category, which isn't, that way. It's being homeless is like a little city in a sense. It's you got different types of people from all over. As they say, 400 a night go to the mission. But that's only a fraction of it, because a lot of them don't go to the mission. A lot of them camp out. A lot of people stay on other ends of town and don't even come to certain ends of town. There's a lot of homeless people there. I mean, they're from all different walks. How would you say walks of society?
Well, I think the last statistic I saw was about 1,600, although I imagine that it's grown since that time. That was last summer, I think, when I saw that statistic. So it's tremendous. I think Carm, especially this winter, was over capacity almost every night. So there's tremendous need, and I imagine most of the statistics are even an underrepresentation, because we have so many folks that are campers, that are living in tents, and are probably underrepresented in terms of most of our data collection.
I'm lacking in education. I really am. I got an 8th grade education. So it's hurt me as far as getting jobs, and have a hard time filling out applications. It's hurt me my whole life. It really has. And as the economy got worse, and as I got older, it got harder to get a job.
So I supervise our case managers, who are basically, as I introduce them to patients, our experts in terms of community resources. So they work every day seeing patients both in the office and also in the homes, in CARM, our area shelter, helping to link them with community resources, helping them find housing, helping them find food, helping them find a medical or behavioral health provider.
Well, I am a housing case manager at Volunteer Ministry Center, and I've been here almost 7 years, but doing the case management part about 5 years. I started in the refuge and worked there for 2 years. And our focus now is to develop a case plan with our clients, and all of the case managers have anywhere from 20 to 30 clients on their caseload. And some require more time than others, depending on what stage they're in or their mental health. I think without having that person, the case manager, a lot of our folks' lives are so chaotic, they couldn't fathom putting all that stuff together. And it's a difficult system to work with, even for us. So when I'm calling advocating for my clients and I'm getting voicemail and push 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and put you on hold. I often think about how it must feel for someone who's struggling with schizophrenia or who's bipolar and can't follow through with that next step of being assertive and saying, well, I really need to talk to someone.
Well, one thing I did notice, if you drink, it will mess your life up. It will.
Because that's kind of what's happened to you.
Yeah, my first drink after that, I've been beat,
I think that Knoxville has a lot of services. I think where we struggle is with continuity of care. Being able to provide continuity of care to a homeless transient population, helping them to stay in housing once they're there, helping them to meet both behavioral health, substance abuse, primary care needs. And I think that's where we struggle, especially with the substance abuse piece. In this area, when folks are motivated to pursue substance abuse treatment, oftentimes there's a 3-4 month wait, which is so difficult, especially for these folks who don't have insurance. So I think it's less the need for additional services and more making the services that we have more available and providing a continuity of care in the provision of those services.
Also, if you want to get involved firsthand, to learn about what programs are out there, there's all kinds of volunteer opportunities. There's the Compassion Coalition Circles of Support program, which taps into the faith-based community, although they're willing to work with, I think, just about anybody who wants to be involved, even if they're not involved with the church, where 4 or 5 people get connected to a formerly homeless person to kind of mentor them. And we're finding that the point of that program was to try to reintegrate homeless folks back into society. And we're finding that the mentors love it, and the formerly homeless person also loves it, because historically, if someone would get into housing, it's great for a week. Wow, they've got their apartment, but then it's kind of like, well, what do I do now? And so we found that one of the problems is they would get housing, but they were still coming down to the shelters and hanging out, because that's their social group. That's what they've known sometimes for years. And so this is an attempt to introduce them to some healthier people and some new things to get involved with.
Be kind, I think, is probably the best thing. I think there are so many negative stereotypes about the homeless, but I think never underestimate the power of a kind word, a smile. Many of these folks are at their worst point in their life, and being able to just have someone to look at them like they're human and treat them with respect, and give them a pat on the back, I think is very, very powerful, especially when so many of them are working so hard to make changes in their life. Just a little kindness, I think, would go a long way.
There's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of very good people out there that are looked at in a totally wrong light. I mean, just it's hard. It's hard. It does something to your psyche. If you feel like you don't fit, but you do fit, I guess you get stigmatized after a while. That would be the right word.